salvation be exalted. The Lord be blessed, and blessed be my rock. Blessed all of my salvation be exalted.
It is a distinct pleasure for me to have been asked to interview Brother Murray Laura Goodman, missionary of the poor. Notice his names, eh? He's indeed St. Lucian and religious. You want to comment briefly just on your names?
I'm from Monrepo, St. Lucia, from the Goodman family and the Laura family. And I think it is a privilege to be a good man and at the same time to be a Laura, because the Lord does marvels, and I know that He is doing so many good things, and I thank God for that.
Wonderful. We're so happy to have you in our midst, and so proud of you, in fact, Brother Murray. It looks as though Monrepo is a seedbed of vocations. I know that Bishop Malzier is from Monrepo, and you can fill me in. There must be other religious from there too, right?
Oh yes, there is Sister Annie Reno,
yes,
Sister Marlene James,
yes,
and the Goodman, of course, Father Cecil Goodman,
yes,
was from Monrepo, Father Lambert St. Rose, I think, yes, also.
Monrepo takes the cake in so many ways, and then it's the land of Darren Sammy.
Okay, yes, too, right, yes.
Brother Murray is celebrating 31 years in the religious life. He joined the Brothers of the Poor in Jamaica, and I know you're aware that the founder of that order is Father Richard Holong, and many of our listeners are aware of the music ministry of that order. Perhaps not as many are aware of their work among the poorest of the poor. Any comments here on just that for now?
The Missionaries of the Poor started in 1981, of which Father Holong is our founder, not the general, because we have a Brother General as the head of our religious community, which he is from India. Father Holong started, as I said, the Missionaries of the Poor, and then now the music ministry was what he started first, which fueled the way to serve the poor. And because of that, when I joined the Missionaries of the Poor in 1985, I was able to be familiar with Father Holong through his songs, but then to be more familiar in a spiritual way in the religious congregation and in the service of the least of our brothers and sisters.
Isn't that wonderful? I mean, and it shows us how music is so intertwined with love, with emotion, with worship, and with motivating people, to serve. I remember in 1991 the program that was done on CTBS where Sister Rosemary interviewed you.
Yeah.
And I found that program so very interesting. I noticed that in the program you attributed your vocation in great measure to your mother and your family. Do you want to comment on your family at this point?
Oh yes, my father is still alive. My mother passed away 12 years ago, but my mother's name was Benita Goodman, and from that alone, Benita is blessed. And she, as a loving mother, a mother who really knew what she wanted for her children, went all the way serving others, teaching us by example. And that's how I, Murray, learned from my mother the benefits of serving the least of our brothers and sisters of the poor. Because she would always tell me, if you do good, good will follow you. And therefore, for me, it was like, yes, Mama, I will do it. And when I went into serving the least of our brothers and sisters, I never thought or even think of turning back, though sometimes life can be difficult, but you have to learn to bear and carry the cross as Jesus himself did. My mother was one who used to go to church, and from her going to church, she would always recite her prayers to Mother Mary. And I think from there the inspiration grew, and that she was able to become who she was and in the influence in my life. I thank God for that.
Wonderful.
Yes.
You know, as you spoke there, the church teaches how the home is a domestic church. And what we can recognize in your home is that your home was preparing you for the wider service of the poor through your mother's own generosity, even though she didn't have very much, and she had 11 children.
11
right?
children,
11
yes,
children,
yes,
right?
yes.
But you learned that this, in spite of all of that, those responsibilities, she found time to reach out to others.
Yes,
And that is wonderful. In that program in 1991, as though I recall, that the Brothers of the Poor had about 22 members with 4 priests.
Yes, yes, right.
Now it has mushroomed. Give us a little picture of what the order is like in numbers, in nationality, compared to 25 years ago.
25 years ago, we had a few brothers from India, St. Lucia, Dominica, Belize, and the United States. And all in all, we were 22 in number. And we had only one mission, and that was in Jamaica. In 1992, we decided that we would open our tents to allow in other nationalities and to go into countries that are very poor and that would be able to get vocation. So in 1992, the Missionaries of the Poor set their mission in India. In 93, we went to the Philippines. In 94, we went to Haiti. And 2000, we went to Uganda. 2007, in North America and in Kenya. Also in 2010, we went to Indonesia. 2012, 13, we went to East Timor. At present, we are about almost 500 brothers, 500 brothers. And we have brothers who are from even places where I have not mentioned, you know, like from Congo, Nigeria, including the places that I mentioned that we are from. So God has been very good to us, and although we have our little ups and downs whereby brothers, after a few years information, they leave, but God is good, and all the time He is good, so I am very grateful for that, and I can see how we have been growing, and it is the Lord's hands that are at the wheel.
Of course, without doubt. You see the mustard seed.
Exactly.
Yes, expanding.
Exactly, yes.
I mean, you see, really, it's like a Pentecost of the order, isn't it?
It is,
so
it is a great Pentecost.
Yes. And I mean, we're proud to know that an order like this, born in the Caribbean, is able to reach out universally.
Yeah.
But you have had a particular role to play, I think, in either Uganda or in Kenya, and also in Haiti. So if you elaborated on those 3 areas, it would be good for all our listeners to hear.
In 1996, when I was appointed superior of the Haiti mission, I went into a country that was so different from St. Lucia and Jamaica. It was very poor, and yet I was able to, because of the language, the Creole spoken there, for me it was not so difficult. So I was able to get into the culture of the people and begin to do the works that I was assigned to do as superior, as brother, and as a friend to the people, bringing Christ to them. So I was able to achieve much restoration of the center, the asile. I was able to build a chapel for our monastery. I was able to build a short road, which is about 200 meters, that takes us from the main road to the center. So I would say that God was the strength behind all of this, and it was like you were doing it for Christ, and you're sent into that place, and you have a task to perform, and for me that was just a little of it, because in those days my energy was so high.
I can imagine.
My energy was so high. Then I remember in 1999, Father Holong called me and said to me, you know something, I'm going to send you to no, he said to me, no, you're coming with me to Africa, Uganda. And it was a dream for me, because I always wanted to serve the poor in Africa. Then Father Holong called and said, oh, I'm sorry, but he would not be able to come, but Father Ambrose will be coming. So we went into Uganda, Africa, and we were looking for a place to start our order. Finally, we got a place in Kampala, Archdiocese of Kampala, and we left the groundwork for the bishop to do for us, although at the same time establishing a relationship with him and the Archdiocese. I went back to Haiti, and in 2001, the mission was opened, but I was not sent. I was sent 5 years later. 5 years later, it was after celebrating my 20th anniversary as in the order. I was also assigned as superior to the mission, assistant superior to the mission in Uganda, of which I served for 1 year and 2 months, went back to Jamaica to become the superior of the new mission that we had started, a retreat center. I stayed there for 8 months and was reassigned now to Kenya in Africa, of which I was a superior for 5 years. After being in Africa, and my works in Africa was very touching and very instrumental, because there the faith is much alive in Africa. The faith is just much alive, but one has to mobilize the people. One has to go into the areas where people are very, very poor, and they lack water. We were able to bring in water supply, electricity, and stuff like that, going into the ghettos, inviting them. Now, Africans love to pray, so it's easy when you go in there, you beat the drums, and everybody will be coming in to listen, to pray, and to assist. So my experiences in Africa was tremendous, and if there is a place that I'd like to go back to, is there. In 2012, I was reassigned to Haiti, and then this time at the old mission in Cap Haitian. After 2 years, we were given an apostolate in Port-au-Prince that was run by the Food for the Poor. Food for the Poor is an organization that supplies food and other materials to poor countries. And so they asked us if we could take over that center. And we did. I was sent down there as superior of the center, and at the same time to build a monastery there, of which I did. And the brothers now are doing so well. Again, the experiences in Haiti is so blessed. The experience, I say, is blessed in the sense that you go to a place where the place is very poor, but yet God's graces, God's divine providence, God's light, God's power is just melting you, molding you, and making you do even what that you are not capable of doing. So in the service of the poor, especially the handicapped, those who are not able to help themselves, you see, when you do that, you find that it is so inspiring, it is so touching, and it is something that I will and will never separate myself from. I think that this is my calling, and it's a service that I've always cherished, working with the handicapped, working with those who are deaf and dumb, who are blind, knowing that when you do this to them, they cannot repay you, but your reward will always be in the kingdom of heaven. And I wish that many more people would embrace the type of service, the type of God, of answering to the Gospels, of allowing the Gospel to take root in them, and being able to be the hands of Christ be the hands of the face of Christ in the poor. When you become the face of Christ and you become the hands of Christ, automatically this same thing reflects back to you, because it's like you looking at yourself in a mirror, and what do you see in the mirror? It's yourself. You look at Christ in the poor, you see Christ in yourself. You look at Christ in yourself and you see Christ in the poor. So I would be very positive that that the peace that one experiences there, the love, the joy, and the contentment in all, it's Christ-centered. It's just the gospel being put into practice.
Our Lord came for the poor. Yes, and special. What about St. Lucia? Here we are, and I mean, you have done so well. You are a senior, a pioneer of the missionaries of the poor. I mean, when you look around at your native land, do you see scope? Do you see need here? Are there conditions here that seem to tell you that you could make a suggestion that the order consider setting up a mission here?
When I look at St. Lucia and the present situation that it is in, I think there needs to be a spiritual restoration, spiritual reconstruction, reconstitution in St. Lucia. And I think, not I think, but it is that the way things are going, that you can see that the need of missionaries, more missionary activities, spiritualizing the people, evangelizing them, bringing them to a sense of worth, a sense of spiritual dignity, so that they can see that they are people of God, you know. And I can see also our mission, our ministry being effective in St. Lucia. Right now you don't see so much of that, but as you go along, maybe 10 years from that, you'll see the need, because there's so much unemployment, there's so much lacking infrastructures that can help motivate our young people. They don't have that, and of course they stick to drugs, they stick to different things that are detrimental to their system and to their lives and to their spirituality. And most of the times they don't even go to church or even take church seriously. And I think we can bring some impact into the lives of many. And I say the church is doing, and the church will be able to do even more if we have more missionaries, if we have more vocations, if we have more sisters, brothers, to be able to be the hand of God, to be the instrument of Christ in the service of the least of our brothers and sisters and the church, and so that the new evangelization will be established once more in Christ.
Yeah, that's tremendous. Your order was given apostolic approval pontifical approval last year.
Yes.
And I think it's one of the few times in the region when a Catholic religious order has achieved that status. In fact, we have very few. Most of the religious orders have come from Europe, from the United States. This one was born in Jamaica. I mean, it has spread throughout the region and throughout the world. And the Holy Father gave his approval. Tell us a little about it. It must have been a time of much joy and thanksgiving for the brothers.
Well, it was a time of greater joy, tremendous joy, because I remember we were working on our pontifical status, and we were almost to get it when some issues developed. Of course, Rome had to step in and to help us clear those issues, which we did. And then we were waiting every day. We prayed, and we are perfecting the imperfectness of ourselves. We were trying to do our best in the service of the poor, and yet at that time, God saw that we were ready, so He gave us that, and I'm so happy and so grateful, because without this recognition, we would be doing this, but not doing it in the eyes of the church. And it is good that the church has seen it, and the church has put its stamp on it, so that we can continue. Not that we wanted we wanted it so much, but that it is a sign of the gift of the Holy Spirit being put into flame, into active use, so that the love of Christ can spread out, and it gives us the credibility to continue aspiring to achieve the kingdom of God in the lives of the people, and also in us, that on the final judgment day we will be able to say, the Lord will say to us, well, you did this and you did that. But I mean, that is one thing. But the other thing too is that we know that Christ is alive and active, and Christ's love, Christ's spirit is within, and He is using us to bring about His kingdom through Mother Mary.
Wonderful, isn't that wonderful? Perhaps to close off, you might want to tell us about your hopes and dreams, both for the order as well as for yourself. What do you dream of? What more, you know? Yeah.
Well, I remember years ago when we were back in 1991. I wrote on my habits 105, and I was saying that I want, before I die, that we have about 105 brothers in our community. So now that we have passed that, I add another 0 to it, and I said 1,005.
All right. Okay. Yes.
And I see we are coming close to that. But my hope is that we will be able to reach to serve Christ in every continent of the world, and in as much and in all the countries of the world, so that His love, His works, and His light will penetrate the hearts of all people.
And I'm sure you want to get more Caribbean people.
Oh,
the
yes.
Still very few, aren't they?
Yes, it is so few.
Yeah.
We have one brother from Dominica, Commonwealth of Dominica, 3 from Belize, 1 from Trinidad and Tobago, 3 from Jamaica. Haiti, at most we have about 15. We have 5 in formation, and another 10 who are in the different missions. We have 2 brothers who now from Haiti who are serving on the council. That's the consultant. Yes. The general. Yeah. Right. I was for 2 terms. I was on the council for 6 years, and then now I said, well, let other people be on that. My dreams and my hope is that the younger brothers should really take on the responsibility, and to be able to have Jesus use them within His mystical body, so that they too can spread that light, they can spread the works of Christ. Because I realize, well, I'm only 55 and been a member for 31 years, and being a member for 31 years, there's so much that you can do, still can do, but yet if you don't have a team with you doing it, and and sometimes you allow them to lead to the front. You become humble, so that humility can reign in you. Because without humility, you cannot experience the peace that comes through service. And to have them to be able to become leaders. Of course. Because and then now, when we have that, then we can filter into the Caribbean islands. Sending brothers here and there, and because right now what you see, the religious order is dying. Lots of new orders have come, but not so much in the Caribbean. No. And so we need a new spiritual face-look for the Caribbean, the Catholic Church. And if we are able to, we'll be able to get more brothers, more sisters too. Because we have sisters. I hear you have
an order of women beginning.
Yes, we have an order of women. It's about 4 years now, and the women are from Canada, from the States, from Jamaica, and Uganda, Kenya. That's wonderful. And we are blessed because the type of work that we do need women to help with the women that we take in, and that the men, brothers, can take care of the men. Yes. And so in God's time, I pray that He will allow us to be able to spread our wings as He has always helped us to do.
Last question. Have you ever considered becoming a priest? You have been in the order for 31 years as a brother. You have done such fantastic work. You're a senior member. You're a spiritual counselor. Never thought of becoming a priest?
Well, as I was talking to someone this morning, he asked me the same question.
Yes.
And I remember when I was a child, I wanted to be a priest. And that is what motivates any religious person as a young man following the footpaths of the church. But then I remember it was Father Joy in Monrepo. Father Joy, I don't remember his full name. He was the one who said, "You'll be a good brother." But somehow, it's very funny, no? That's a funny part of it. I did not like the brothers because I used to see them with big shoes walking. And it was Brother Cyril.
Yes, oh yes.
I used to see Brother Cyril with big shoes, and I said, but these men have big shoes, my goodness. It was just a little, I was being funny. But then it was Brother Cyril who introduced me to the missionaries of the poor, then Brothers of the Poor. Yes. You see how God works? It reverses, you know.
I remember Brother Cyril very well. I taught with him.
A very good friend. And then now I remember joining MOP, and at that time some brothers wanted to be priests. But I said, no, if all the brothers goes to be priests, what will happen to the brothers? So I said, I remember one time my superior and founder, Father Holong, asked me, I said, no, I want to be a brother. I remember also his cousin, who was a nun with the serving at Immaculate.
Yes, that's a
Franciscan order in Jamaica. I said no. But then, and I think it's a good thing I did say no, because I see that as a brother, I am able to reach out to so many people, and I see the effects of reaching out to people. So you don't necessarily have to become a priest to serve God, but as a brother you can do so. And it became so true because when we were preparing for pontifical status, Rome had asked us to change from a priest being the superior general to a brother being superior general. And you see, so I see it worked. It came that way.
Of course.
Though my aspiration is not to be a brother general, because I think that I have other things to do, serving the poor, feeding them, talking to them, counseling them, and being active in them.
I should have asked you before how maybe some of our people watching this program, young people, might be interested in the order. How can they learn more about it? How can they apply to become members?
With all this modernity and technology, we are online, we have a website, and of course with the music ministry, which made it so to facilitate. Also, it's easy. You ask any priest in the parishes, and they would know about Missionaries of the Poor in Jamaica. Of course, you can contact us at Missionaries of the Poor Jamaica. Of course, yes. I have left my contacts with so many priests, my parish priest of Monrepo. Here at the CTBS, you can get my information.
It has been a wonderful experience to listen to you, to hear of all that you have done, how God has used you as his instrument in this order, and of the growth of the order. We have much to be grateful for. We have much to thank God for as a Caribbean people, and for the service which the brothers, the missionaries of the poor, have continued to render, not only in this region, but in so many parts of the world.